Hey everyone, welcome back to the Critic-Verse. Today we're continuing our Warrior Season 3 catch-up, recap, and review with Episode 2 titled Anything Short of a Blow to the Head. Now, before we get to the episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to keep updated on everything Critic-Verse. Now, let's get to the video. Once again, this episode is titled Anything Short of a Blow to the Head. And this line is used in a scene between Bill and his brother-in-law, who wants to speak to Bill, and Bill replies with the title, but it's spoken as a snarky response when someone gives unsolicited advice, despite the other person probably not wanting to hear it. And this applies to many people in the episode, as they are given advice from others, solicited or unsolicited, and then not taking it or just not wanting to hear it. The episode starts with two men blocking the path of a carriage and introducing themselves as Special Agent Mosley, and the other guy's name won't really matter in a second. They claim to be members of the Secret Service, a part of the Treasury Department. The other agent asks to check the carriage, and they seem to be looking for something. As he checks out the back, one of the men shoots him, and Agent Mosley retaliates, leaving only the driver alive, wounded but alive, knocking him out so they can finish their conversation later. As Mosley checks the back, he finds a lot of money, which then cuts to Mosley bringing the man back to the encampment the Hop Way raided at the end of last episode, taking the plates. Mosley knows about the counterfeit bills and is looking for the plates and the press. Mosley interrogates the man, and he tells him about a Chinese man they were doing business with, inadvertently telling him about Chow. Sahm, Youngjun, and Hong have been trying to print bills, but they don't know what they're doing, so all the bills come out looking garbage. And they agree to find someone who knows what they're doing, and it seems Sahm already has someone in mind. The San Francisco police raid a tenement building that apparently is violating an occupancy and decency ordinance by having too much people, and the new chief is pushing for harsh retaliation, to which even Bill objects. Buckley is then shown annoyed by his competitor's attention in the press. Buckley's campaign manager asks for justification of him spending Blake's estate, and Buckley then discusses Sophie not getting any better, and then goes on to praise the new chief. Next, bounty hunters come into Abigail's bar looking for Lee. Abigail kills one, and Lee kills the other. They close up to cover up, and Abigail runs to get someone named Jack. Mai Ling looks to Kong Pak for wisdom on how to deal with the Hop Way. Kong Pak notes that the state that they are in, that she should just have patience and wait them out. Merriweather then calls Leary because his men hurt two of his Chinese laborers, causing him to lose out on hours of work, and tells Leary to sort it out. Leary tells them that it's coming out of their pay. When they push back, Leary tells the ungrateful pricks to leave and relays the message to the rest. There are others that will quickly take their jobs, and if they have a problem, they'll know where to find him, which will come up later. The new chief chastises Bill for his insubordination, but back in his office, Agent Mosley is there waiting for him. He requests the use of his Chinatown squad, an office, and a holding cell. Chief Atwood puffs up his chest and rebuffs Agent Mosley's request, but Mosley then pulls rank and puts Atwood in his place, and it was satisfying to say the least. Sahm goes to the print shop from the last episode in order to get the help of the owner in exchange for wiping his debt. The man says he can't help, and Sahm leaves. Hong and Young Jun are at a non-Tong casino, And while Young-jun is having bad luck at the tables, Hong is falling in love with a male cabaret singer. But after enough losses, Young-jun wants to go to a toy and get some sticky. Turns out, the Jack that Abigail was referring to was Happy Jack, the smuggler that the hop way buy molasses from last season. Abigail is the late wife to Jack's brother, and advises Lee the next time to just let the place get robbed unless he wants Abigail to meet the same fate as his brother. Jack does not like Lee, nor does he approve of him and Abigail, and advises him to leave. Lee jokes and goes inside, but Jack searches the corpses and finds Lee's wanted poster. Lee worries about more bounty hunters coming for him and suggests they leave, but Abigail won't leave her business and seductively asks Lee to stay for her, and then they have sex. Lee Young criticizes Mai Ling for reading the duck paper, and Mai Ling advocates for learning to invest in duck businesses and sends Lee Young to meet with a rival Tong that reached out to discuss joining them, and tells him to take Kong Pak, and lets Lee Young be the decider on this one. Sahm takes a toy on a walk through Chinatown, and they continue to discuss the state of it. A toy is optimistic that their people are survivors, and a toy also enjoys the attention Sahm gets for fighting against the ducks. When Sahm deflects to talking about Lai, a toy talks about having a chance at peace, and she's kind of fooling herself. We all know it. Leary argues with Buckley on how long it's taking to make good on his promise and get rid of Chinese labor. Sahm is confronted by the printer's daughter, Yan Mi, and she wants to take up Sam's deal in her father's place. He shows her the press, and she flexes her knowledge in front of them, and her assumptions are accurate enough for Young-jun to give her a shot, but Yang Mi ups her service fee, from just wiping her father's debt to never having the Hopway collect money from them again. Leary is being viewed as a hired thug that can intimidate people for the factory owners, as one sends him after a competitor in exchange for a promise of jobs to the Irish. Bill informs his wife he didn't get the promotion, and his brother-in-law offers him a job. Bill goes for a drink at Leary's bar, and the two brothers Leary sent home earlier are visibly and vocally upset. Then one of them openly challenges Leary in front of everyone and brings up his loss to Sahm last season, and Leary accepts the challenge but tells him to bring his brother. Leary then proceeds to beat both their asses until he gets a hit to the abdomen in the same spot Sahm hit him in their last fight, and he gets a little winded but dials up his rage and beats one brother into a pole and lifts the other one off the ground. Then he invites them back in for a drink, but he caresses his injured spot as he walks away. Nellie is visited by a man named Douglas, apparently an old friend who is purchasing wine from her vineyard. He makes an offer to buy her land outright and tells her that the federal government wants to purchase her land and build a railroad through it. He tells her his offer is fair market value and tells her to accept before the government declares eminent domain, and offers her much less and takes the land anyway. Apparently Douglas is the one building the railroad, which is what he stands to gain from it. And as Nellie refuses, she says she has an army of lawyers to fight anyone who says otherwise. And he takes this as her just taking time to think about it, and as he's leaving, he sees a toy and Nellie embrace. Yan Mi demonstrates her skill with the press and gives Young-jun perfect counterfeits, and this pleases both Sahm and Young-jun as they state they're in business. Buckley faces off in a political debate with his competitor, who wins the crowd and the press by being a younger family man, which annoys Buckley. And I gotta say, Buckley might either be a germaphobe or experiencing PTSD after being crowded by people and experiencing some sort of panic attack. But he is confronted by a woman named Catherine Archer, who helps him regain his composure, which suddenly starts an intrigue of her. Mai Ling is then shown retelling her story at a tea party hosted by the woman that invited her in the last episode, who then gives her a tour of the house and offers her a dress when Mai Ling admires one of them. Lee Young meets with the three brothers Tong, and they make a fake proposal to Lee Young in order to assassinate him, but Kong Pak sees through it and saves him, and a fight ensues. Kong Pak and Lee Young take on the group of men, just the two of them, and after a bit of pleading on Kong Pak's part, the rival leader throws it in his face and Kong Pak kills the man. Lee was being followed by Agent Mosley, and when confronted, Mosley offers Lee a job. And in exchange for making his murder charge go away and removing the bounty, Lee will guide him through Chinatown. When Lee refuses, Mosley tells him to think it over and get back to him. And the episode ends. Another great episode to follow up episode 1, but let's go over my thoughts on the episode. The introduction of the Secret Service was quite interesting because in modern day, they are mostly security detail for the president. But Agent Mosley looks to be doing what a modern day FBI agent would be doing, probably because the FBI haven't been created by the time of the show. Chief Atwood makes me miss Flanagan's grumpy ass because Atwood seems to be just as racist as Buckley. Well, seeing as he hired him, it kind of makes me wonder if Atwood might also be a secret Confederate like Buckley is, and that he fled to New York instead of San Francisco. And I mean, Buckley did address him as Colonel, but he might have been a Northman who just doesn't like Chinese people. Hong is enticed by an Asian male singer at one of the gambling dens, but here's something that I wonder. What language is that singer singing in? Because Hong only speaks and understands Chinese. So, if that's the case, does he understand what Marcel, the singer, is singing, or is he just enticed by the sounds that he's making? Because the other option is Marcel is singing in Chinese to a group of people that don't understand him. But that one's less likely. Also, I really love the shot where Marcel is singing and the camera zooms in on him and the stage is lit in this pink light, and it's almost as if Hong is mesmerized by Marcel's siren song. But it did sound really good also. Bill and Leary bonding over feeling underappreciated for the work that they do and claim to be trying their best as the world falls apart was kind of funny, but also kind of sad. We get the first appearance of Douglas Strickland, who looks like he might be an antagonist for Atoy and Nellie. And the first time Yang Mi, who is supposed to be Assam's love interest, speaks, as she appeared in the last episode but didn't say a word. But she's very standoffish towards him, most likely coming from the fact that he's a Tong who's harassed her father. But lots more to come this season, and I can't wait to talk about it. Thanks for joining me in the Critic-Verse. See you next time.